Hello, Gemini. I'm going to talk about a very, very action-packed, exciting year coming up for you, 2016. And my name is Victoria Martin, and boy, I'll tell you, you're a person to watch in 2016. January 2016, let me just tell you, we're going to do one just brief slide about each month, and this is kind of like the flavor of the month for everyone, and then I'm going to break it down for what does it mean to you. So January 2016, the feeling about January is there's omens about who has real power. And then just in the world scene, more revolution and upgrade jitters. So my advice is be cool, manage your brand, and do your duties. Mercury is retrograde January 5th through 25th, so that might be a time that you need a little extra time and care in communications and transportation. So let's take a look at this power situation. The new moon finds you in a good position to do some collaborating, to make some contracts, and of course troubleshooting is part of that. You really have a lot of insight into how people do business, what are the trade secrets, and this new moon maybe gives you an opportunity to make some life changes for the better. It might be irritating at first, but it gets interesting when we add Uranus, and this your issue since 2011 is that you know about the business that you're in, but you're dealing with all these curious characters who are futuristic, innovative, and you know how to get this to work, how to get people to these unique people to cooperate with your business plan. So it's going to be very obvious in January that this is a big issue for you. So you want to handle that carefully. So on to February. Well, February, the month is a sleeper. It wakes up at the end, but even then seems even more dreamy. So my advice is pay attention to subtle cues and train your ESP, avoid toxins, and shun illusions. Okay, so the big event in February is that there's a full moon in the area of your family, property, management, and happiness. So this will really ignite a lot of personal issues, and this will be counterbalanced by the point that you have this great sense of glamour, spirituality, and mysticism involving your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals. But you have to be careful about the illusions and trickery in that. So in this case, you're kind of going back and forth between the teamwork that's involved with your family and, you know, how can you support or up, fly high into this great sense of, you know, this magical career that's potential for you. So it's a balancing act. Okay, so then on to March, a couple of eclipses going on. So the forecast is for global opinion shifts. This is going to be especially regarding topics of religion, patronage, and healing. My advice, be ready for anything, keep the faith, but use science and worst case analysis as backup. Okay, so the solar eclipse is in your 10th house. We just talked about this is a big focus. Your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals are really you're reviewing all the karmic links that is everyone you've known in your career. You're monitoring the situation. You're thinking, can I make something happen here? It's an influential setup phase, very, very super powerful new phase to set things up. That's followed by a lunar eclipse, and lunar eclipse, well, it's like a super full moon. A full moon is about revelation, but in this case, this might be a revelation and an idea that is a challenge to standards, thinking outside the box. There could be extreme emotions. The focus is on your talent and also on your children if you have any, and you're looking to amplify your luck, and you're analyzing, using your knack for probability, analyzing the situation. So it's revelations about the best possible world citizenship for you, including pointers about what to let go, what to eliminate. April 2016, this is a wild and futuristic month, so you want to use your charismatic yet be humane in the elements that you're incorporating. This quest, which comes up, should you accept it, is helped by a study of science and yet more SIG, that special interest group networking. Okay, so here again we've got a very potent new moon, and new moons are introverted, but they're expectant, prophetic, and wish fulfillment. Now in this case, the new moon aligned with Uranus. This means you're going to be seeing a lot of your futuristic, innovative, charismatic, eccentric friends, benefactors, and patrons, and that's what you want to cultivate, and that would be fairly easy, but there is some things to think about in terms of the other elements regarding your what we saw in January regarding business and contracts. So that you're trying to bring them along into your vision. Okay, next we look at May. Heroic missions beckon. Muscle, courage, and street smarts are prerequisites for getting into these projects in May. Strong allies can reinforce each other via affection and also via pooling resources for great success. Mercury's retrograde April 28th through May 22nd, so a good bulk of May. You want to do a lot of patience with communications and transportation. So the full moon in May is, I think, the highlight, and the full moon conjunct Mars is emphasizing partnerships, social life, public outreach. A lot of people are in show-off mode. They feel compelled to perform and demonstrate their strength. Their conflicts get hyped up. Angst needs management. I mean, there's definitely going to be that push forward to manifest an increased social life and public outreach, and could be great. Okay, June is the rewarding but challenging month with tricky and tempting components. I bet you can't wait to hear about this. It's a contest between superpowers. So my advice, even before we look at it, is use strategy, not emotions, unless you need an emotional catharsis, which is always a good idea. But management and adaptive modes will say to you, revise, revise, revise. So what you start off with might not be what you end up with. Okay, so the new moon is in your first house, so you're clearly in a leadership position here. Your identity, personality, appearance is very much, the embodiment of expectancy, prophecy, reflection, and wish fulfillment. Meanwhile, you have some important allies who have dignity, expertise, professionalism. This is what Saturn's known for. That would be easy, but guess what? There's a whole lot of other things in the mix here, because you're expanding your home. There's a lot of good luck regarding your family, your home, your management. There's more happiness that's bubbling up within you. And then we talked about your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals. That's full of glamour, sensitivity, mysticism, but also illusions or trickery. So here you got a full house. I sometimes think the planets are like visiting relatives. They move in and that's it. For the duration, you're stuck with them. So it's really just a lot going on. So I guess you want to rest up at the end of May to get ready for this. Okay, here comes July. I think we're mostly regrouping on issues. There's kind of a timeout. And so my advice is take stock and see who's really on your team. Okay, so again, an important new moon. And I like these vivid new moons because it means really 2016 is a great year for planning. In this case, the new moon is you're planning and you're expectant and you're hopeful and wishful regarding resources, aesthetics, and your instincts. So making money is very important, and you're reflecting back on, okay, who's on your team, who do you want to collaborate with, who's going to come through on contracts. So that always requires a lot of options to renew important alliances. You would be a diplomat and transform your plan as needed. Okay, now August is the first 3 quarters of the month is fun, so play that up to the max. Summer vacation, but back to school time holds many dear lessons. So you want to build strength and be ready. Okay, so here the 3rd week of August is Mars is forming conjunction with Saturn, so you really get hit by a lot of people who want you to work for them, with them, or just a lot of important social events that you must go to. That would be easy, but there are career things involved with this, in the sense that you want these people to help you with certain career things. There might be a trade-off, just because this is a complex combination in that you may feel that some of these partnerships are just a little too inclination to be heavy-handed or overloaded. You have that mystic inspiration, but then you're aware of outside elements, seduction, betrayal. These are all things that are connected to Neptune. So you really have to be going in here with your eyes wide open with this. It's a really, really interesting time frame. This is kind of like an opera. Okay, so I'm just giving you heads up on that. Okay, then we move on to September. Assignments take you on a rocky road. A positive outcome is likely, but certainly changes in the wind. Last week is very lucky, last week of September, but the first 3 quarters is just, continuing from August, ongoing management and trend monitoring. Mercury retrograde, August 30th through September 22nd, is going to dictate extra care in transportation and communication. So the new moon phase, August 30th through September 3rd, is the new moon is in your 4th house. You may be changing something connected to your family, property, and management. And this is a challenging time for men, but this is beneficial. It's at the North Moon's node, so this is a fully realized life comes as a result of these changes. And the thing that's hanging over here is that ongoing since November 2015 is that here you're dealing with a lot of very serious people in partnerships who are ambitious and professional, and you're trying to think how can they help you fulfill your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals, which is at this point colored by glamour, sensitivity, spirituality, mysticism. So this thing is coming into play at this solar eclipse, and we talked about that was active at the end of August as well. Okay, the solar eclipse is followed by a lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is bringing illumination to your life's purpose, ambitions, and goals, but also lunar eclipses can hit on vulnerable points, so they tell you what to eliminate. Lunar eclipses are more challenging for women than men. Okay, October 2016 starts off with a bang, and it's truly a rocket ride into the future, but very fun socially. So get out, be generous, learn new skills in October. Okay, so the new moon in your 5th house is, we're starting kind of a new era here where for the next 12 months you will be able to develop your talent. You will have more significant relationships with your children if you have them. It could be a very lucky time for you, and your knack for probability is accelerating, so huge promising options can overwhelm. It's best to get your allies' support. But I mean, this could be, you really want to move on these new moons and get things started. The full moon will activate your area of benefactors, patrons, and friends, and we know that they tend to be futuristic, innovative, or eccentric people. And so you find out what teams are going to work and what aren't. But full moon always brings extra drama. November 2016 is mostly neutral, yet with surprise options. It's good for catch-up because October was exciting. A lucky new moon at the end of November preps up these December's marathons that are coming up. So, all right, so we know that you're in a trend of expanding your talent, and that's going to go on through August or September 2017. And yet, in the background, you're always thinking, how is this going to fly as a collaboration or a contract? And that's because Pluto is lurking in your 8th house. It's going to be there. It's been there for quite some time. It's been there, I don't know, for 10 years. It'll be there for another 10 years. So it's making tracks there. Now, this new moon that I mentioned at the end of November is extremely fortunate. In this case, you get a chance to improve your relationships and partnerships in your social life. And this is really helped by the fact that you just have more talent and more confidence than usual. And also that you are making inroads in education and travel, maybe you getting some support from your religious community, or that you have more global awareness. So this is an extremely fortuitous new moon, actually, here at the end of November, beginning of December. So as I mentioned, December is a marathon, action-packed, squeezing out extra work. The end of the year, for some reason, will dictate a lot of completions, ASAP. The visionary new moon at the end of December is going to set up the next New Year's trends, 2017. So Mercury's retrograde heads up December 19th through January 8th. Okay, let's look at December. There's a lot going on. So we're starting off with this full moon phase that is going to put you in a leadership position. So versatility rules. You want to be all things to all people, and this will put you in the winner's circle. Meanwhile, you have these really serious people who are your partnerships and a lot of, let's say, dignity or organization necessary for your social life. Okay, so this should work very nicely with all of your group affiliations, so that your partnerships and your group affiliations are working really well together, so that through your close one-to-one relationships, you're getting involved with more groups and vice versa. So this is actually very positive. And then we this is goes even farther. Windfalls are possible. Partnerships bring renewed hope. Fortunate pairings combine for miraculous results. So that goes on through mid-January. That's really great. Okay, then at the very end, December, we have a new moon, which is in the area of collaborations, contracts, troubleshooting, and this gives you, even though that's holiday time, it gives you an opportunity to set up some business, to do some brainstorming and troubleshooting, And also, you are even more charged, ignited, and involving your life's purpose. Though you know, at least because I'm telling you that there's glamour is a double-edged sword, just as mysticism. There can be illusions in that. So even though there's mystical forging and paradise building, it calls for wisdom and incentives, to get things done. So something could happen, but you've got to be realistic. So anyway, that is your year. You are a major player in 2016. I wish you well. Thank you for watching. Have a great year, Gemini. My name's Victoria Martin.
Bu akşam seminerimizi canlı olarak mobil uygulamamız üzerinden yapıyoruz.